Welcome back everyone to another Bitcoin update. So it is a weekend or end of the weekend entering the new trading week that we have coming up. The futures market just opened and oil went up and the S&P index and Bitcoin dropped a little bit more since we've had this sell-off from yesterday's failed talks with US and Iran. And I just wanted to simplify this chart a little bit more for some possible scenarios that we are in and some things that we can look for this upcoming trading week. So currently our preferred, it's speculation, but our preferred scenario would be a larger 5-wave move up that has completed for a first wave, and now we could be in a B, C correction before starting that third wave impulsive up for another high. Now that is the speculative, just preferred scenario at the moment, just because we have had a 5-wave move up, and yeah, but on this wave move down, we have had a micro 5-wave move down, so that could be our indicator that we are indeed in this second wave correction and that we have had some sort of top over in this area, whether it will be turned into a larger drop or if it's just this corrective drop in which we are in right now. Now we have seen a bit of a selling pressure with futures opening up, and Bitcoin did fall a little bit more since then, but overall it still looks like not an extreme sell-off like it was over here where we just had a large sell-off immediately. Now that very well could turn in that. If we do get maybe another large sell-off, then that would start to kind of turn to maybe something more impulsive with that, or maybe something else that could be leading. And that is why I have we could have had a possible B-wave top overall in this whole entire correction, and now we could be working on a larger move down. However, if we do get another move down, this could also just be a fourth orange wave fourth, and then we do get that fifth wave down. But we have a lot to prove in order for those two scenarios to make it out. Now what I mean when I say that is, firstly, we have this main support, or not main, but our support for this second wave between 67,000 or 66,800 and 70,400. If we break below that support, that would be our first indication that something more or something else could be getting reset. And do not forget, we do have a larger main support down here, which is where the price has bounced off of multiple times, or where we could possibly just extend this B wave low over here, where it can just extend over here, and buyers can try again on heading towards the upside. So we would have those two main supports that we would have to break below in order to indicate that we are indeed not in this larger bullish B wave extension. So instead of it maybe topping out in a larger region over here, maybe it just topped out over here. But way too early to tell, and so far it is just overall just this move down that we've had so far, and we've entered right into resistance, or sorry, right into support. What would be nice to see, obviously this is not a magnet, it's just a resistance zone. Price very well could just sell off even more and we don't even touch this resistance zone. We already did touch it a little bit, but we did get a lower low than this one over here, right? I believe we did. But what we want to see is we want to see just a corrective 3-wave move in an ABC. Maybe it could be something like that before getting a rejection and heading lower. That would be very nice to see, obviously, for a full A, B, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move down in a C wave, in which we could possibly start working on that third wave up, assuming buyers get interested within this area. And obviously it isn't, if we do see a little bit more selling pressure, I mean, I guess it is allowed, but the lower this price goes, the lower this resistance will also go as well. But what we would want to see, like I said, it would be ideal. It obviously would look good for a corrective ABC to the downside if we do test this support zone. Now if we head over to the RSI, we had this bearish divergence we were talking about, and yeah, we had obviously Iran US ceasefire deal failed, so that kind of gave the market its decision point or the direction for it, and that bearish divergence played out very nicely. So here we have it again on the 4-hour RSI when it gets oversold, especially a bearish divergence. Again, it just kind of goes to show just a nice indicator that can usually play out that way. And on the 1 hour, we have hit oversold. Maybe we are forming a little bit of a bullish divergence in the 1 hour chart, so that would kind of work well with that B wave bounce that we were just talking about, but we'll kind of have to wait and see what the market will do. Now, liquidity, obviously we still have more longs and shorts. Obviously with this downtrend we've been having, longs are getting liquidated and shorts are slowly piling back in, and we have our main zones here. If we go to the 7-day, maybe that could give us some more clear targets. Main zone is here at 69,000. It kind of has this large zone here, then a smaller cluster back to about 67,000, which is a CME gap, and which is on the chart, which we could very well be in play if we do head lower. Then we have this larger zone, or this smaller cluster up here around 71,500 to about 72,600, which lines very well with our resistance zone for a B wave. So maybe we do head a little bit higher, liquidate these for a B wave, and then we can head lower. But obviously we have this larger zone back here at 73,800 to about 76,000. Now we'll go over the heat map. This is just for the 24 hour, maybe some things we could see. So we do see a little bit more selling pressure. Maybe we could get down to 70,000, and obviously the zone below us is liquidity as well. But we have this zone up here to 72,400, which matches very well with our resistance zone. I'm gonna head over to the open interest. Open interest has fell a lot really since we've had this sell-off, so obviously people aren't as open or aren't as interested in the market as what they were when we were at the previous highs. And we have this here, not a super, it's kind of more, I guess, in the middle, not really a super high convincing funding rate, but we do have a positive funding rate. And we had this slowing down, which, like we said, when we have such a high bearish, or I guess usually, it's not guaranteed, but usually when we have such high conviction of shorts or longs, bearish or bullish, typically the other way does play out on the funding rate, which we have seen recently. And that is again what happened when we hit super bearish over here. We saw the price go up, and then once we started slowly going back down, well, it's not surprising to see that price fall down too. Now we're kind of back in the neutral area. I know we're positive, but it's not like a large positive. So if we do see a little bit of a move up, it would very well be super nice. But keep in mind, even in large, I guess this wasn't a large negative funding rate. It was still bearish overall, but it wasn't a super large one like it was here or it was over here. But you can kind of see how sometimes the indicator is not always correct. We had a bearish indicator here, and then we obviously sold off while we were still in bearish. And yeah, so that's just something to look out for, even though we are positive, but it's still within the neutral. So it would kind of align it very well with a B wave bounce. So here is what I can expect for the next 24 hours heading into the trading week tomorrow. Obviously, no one really knows what will happen. All we can do is just look at roadmaps, support, resistance, and try to give a possible support and or a possible roadmap of what could play out. But obviously, nothing is guaranteed. So we obviously do have liquidity right within our resistance zone, and it kind of makes sense with the funding rate and open interest. And typically, even when Bitcoin does get these large sell-offs, we do see some sort of bounce afterwards. It's not too surprising to see. So obviously this is not a magnet, but it would be ideal if we do head into this resistance zone and then see a rejection. That would be ideal. But obviously you never know if a catalyst event will come out tomorrow and we just skyrocket. Maybe a ceasefire comes in, we skyrocket, and then we go for that higher high. That's just always something you have to look out for. So resistance goes from 71,400 to 73,200. And obviously, once we kind of break above this high here at 73,800, well, it kind of becomes more and more apparent that we could have had a possible, this could have been all of the wave 2 correction, and now we could be going higher, or this could have just been an extended wave 4. So instead of the wave 4 bottoming over here, maybe it bottomed over here, and we could go for one more high before getting a larger second wave correction. Now, it's not the main scenario, but it's just something to kind of look out for. So what we can expect over the next 24 hours, it would look very nice if we do at least enter again into this resistance zone and then see a rejection. It's not needed. It doesn't have to happen. We could sell off right here, or we could direct or go straight above it, but that would be best case scenario for getting liquidity, and then obviously getting that funding rate positive and having some open interest go up. Unless the open interest drops as we are going up, that would also look in a different scenario as well. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for this video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.